I did it wrong. We'll try again. Slow fade. Is that better? Hi friends. Can I do the... Alright, I'm gonna try something. Let's try it. Turn off studio mode. But just right click here. You wouldn't think that right click would... Okay, what if I just said... Fade is dumb as hell. Why doesn't it turn on the sources before the crossfade? Oh, and Chris, how's it going, buddy? Sorry, I'm having a little chores party, I guess. I'm trying to figure out, it's dumb that you have to be in studio mode to preview the next channel. You can't just crossfade to a source and have the video up already. Like, it's dumb to explain, but I can't crossfade from the splash screen to this camera shot, which is dumb because then I lose the lighting settings because my Logitech camera's terrible. The cameras are terrible and Windows are terrible. Sorry, I'm being very inarticulate. This is going to be a boring stream. It's mainly just to force me to sit down and work on something that has been on my mind, and I just want to try it. So let's go over here. Oh, and how are you doing? I have bad news for you. I'm not going to play Sudoku, so I'm sorry. I try to feel like I've like lured you in. What is this? It's this little dog. Let's just pretend we didn't see that little dog. I know, I know it's unacceptable. That puzzle I just posted is really cool, but it definitely took me a long time. But I think I've made it hard on myself for sure. But that is one of my, as far as just like a color everything puzzle, is definitely one of those. Blobs has a number of those. There's a whole series that's like all cages and nights. I wish there was just one list of all of them. Maybe I'll try to collate them all. But I've done a few of them and I've enjoyed them. Why is this? I don't like this music. It's a little too like Axel Foley for me. Okay, here's the thing I want to just think about a little bit. The most annoying part of this, though, is I am going to have to think about... We're probably going to update, like, real, like, in-production heat, which I don't really want to do. Oh, that's cool. Like a over-the-internet collaborative solve, or a in-person collaborative solve. I haven't really done a collaborative solve with anybody. I would do it with you, but you're too good for me. It would make you look bad. Can't have that. Someone gave me this lemon lime sparkling water. It's good. It's a luxury in life to just have water that's sparkling. Okay, so here's Workers Analytic Engine is in beta. I think I can do the things that I want to do with it. I think. I mean, we used it for what's its face. For mission control, which seems to be working, I think. So, and here's the thing that's just tricky, is that it has this automatic sampling built in. Oh my! See, Owen, you're gonna be too famous for me soon. You won't even bother coming to my channel anymore. You're a big shot. Skoja, how's it going? Oh, now I feel bad. The Sudoku people are showing up, and I'm not even Sudokuing right now. But it's vaguely Sudoku rated, right? Because I'm working on Heat, and Heat helps people help me play Sudoku. So here's the idea, and I'm sorry, I feel super inarticulate. It's very weird. It feels weird to stream late in the day and think about programming projects, but I don't have any analytics for Heat really, except at a very, very, very high level of like millions of clicks, and I have no idea what they are or who they are or anything. And so it would be useful to me to get a little more insight into the traffic. I mean, just to know like who's using what and so on and so forth. Initially, just to kind of know what's going on, but eventually, for potentially like metering or payments or whatever. But I feel like the first step in the process is going to be me just trying to understand how to know what's going on. I know that's a strange statement, and I apologize, but it's maybe once I get this up, we can look at it and make a little more sense. Okay, so if we hop over here, we hop over here, we hop over here, and we go to heat production. So in the last 24 hours, we've had 500,000 requests. It's a lot. In the last week, close to 3 million requests, with a major spike on the 23rd, inexplicably. So, you know, I can, right now, I guess maybe this was a good illustration of it. Right now, I can see this spike. I don't know anything about it. I don't really know anything about who was using it at the time, what was going on. I just have no idea. And I don't really have any real way to gain insight into that. And so I've been looking at options on how to have some kind of meaningful analytics. There are various options, but I'm most interested in workers analytics, which is what we used for this thing when I got too fed up with Google Analytics. And the idea is you can kind of just log whatever you want, and it seems to do a reasonable job. Like we were able to set this up pretty quickly, like some basic geospatial analytics of where my visitors are visiting from. So I want to do that for heat. The thing that is a bit confusing is the sampling, meaning like they aren't necessarily, if I get 1 million clicks, they're not necessarily going to store all 1 million clicks. They might store some like coalesced data point that says like, well, over 24 hours you got 1 million clicks, but we didn't track them individually. Over 1 hour or whatever. I mean, that's what the sampling interval would be. So I don't fully understand their sampling system. It's a bit different than other stuff I've used in this realm, but it doesn't seem too crazy, so I think we can figure it out. Oh, nice. Oh, finally, I can be a fan. I think there's a way for me to follow you. That's kind of weird. They don't want you to upload more than 1 puzzle a day. Logic Masters is like strangely clunky. I like it. I'm glad it exists. I'm grateful that the work has been done for it, but it is like, I would say not a very modern web experience. But I'm glad you're on there, just for my own gratification. So when I saw one of your puzzles, oh, I see. Well, that's reasonable. That's, yeah, it makes sense that they wouldn't want like somebody with a body of work to join and then just post 100 puzzles in a row. So that makes sense. So, okay. Aggregation. I don't really care about aggregation, do I? Aliases can be used in your query. So we have all this working. The thing is just so confusing. Okay, calculate the number of readings taken at each location in less than 7 days. In this case, we are grouping by the index field. So an exact count can be calculated even in the case the data has been sampled. See, but I don't, here's the other fun trick here, though, is I don't want to use indices because that's how they're going to charge. They're going to charge per index. So I don't want a index per channel. Twitch channel, I mean. But downsample data. So one, you have to have a great many requests to be downsampled that I'm probably not to that point yet. But even then, the rate at which data is sampled is supposed to be the sample interval. This means the sum of the sample interval. Doesn't that seem weird? Just don't think I quite understand this. The core thing is they will charge per index. I think that's their plan when it comes out of beta, right? And an easy intuitive thing would be to say every Twitch channel is its own index, but that they're going to charge like $1 per index per month. So if there's 1,000 Twitch channels that use it, even just for one click, it's not reasonable. We're going to pay $1,000. So what I'm just not quite sure of, it would seem very unlikely to me that they would do any sampling I don't understand. I just don't see how they could do sampling on blob data, right? Like, how could you? In the case that the data has been sampled, this column indicates what the sampling rate is for this row, i.e. how many rows of the original data are represented by this one row. Which makes sense to me. But how could they ever do sampling How could they ever do sampling on blobs? I just don't understand how that would even be possible. I feel like, unfortunately, I feel like the documentation is not yet explicit enough. Like, how could you sample a blob? Indexes are strings that will be used as a sampling key. Like, are they just potentially throwing away blob data? Like, what happens to a blob? Top 10 cities that have the highest average community. See, this is... So looking at this implies like you'd never lose blob content, right? Like, I almost feel like it's hard to know if like, am I asking the right question? Am I asking the wrong question? It just like, how are blobs sampled is what I want to know. How can you know? Let's look at. I know the stream is boring everybody. I'm sorry. In Analytics Engine Beta sampling. Blob, not Bob. Like, what happens to blobs? I feel like the documentation is not clear enough. I don't know, man. Just wondered about sampling and blobs. That's all. Not too much to ask. How's no one asking this question? Do I just not understand? I don't understand. Why is the documentation not better? Why?
What happens to blobs when you sample? Why is it a secret? Why didn't this actually jump to present when I said jump to present? Just hoping to see some link to like, here's updated documentation or whatever.
I'll just ask.
Okay, well, I asked.
Anyway, so I guess I'm inclined to like test it a little, play with it a little with fake heat. Do I have real heat installed? I have real heat installed, right? Okay. New heat. Let's switch here for a minute before I open VS Code and see what work I have on screen. Time for spring cleaning. I'm overdue for spring cleaning. It's been springtime for days. Okay, that's definitely a secret. I gotta. It's honestly gonna be a little tough, just because the thing I'm working on is pretty secret, and it's pretty annoying how easy it is to just have something like already open in VS Code or pop up in a VS Code recent items menu or whatever. Go Powers, how's it going? New Gig is pretty good. This music is terrible. I like the people. It is honestly I don't know. It's a little bit like not exactly trial by fire. I think it's a company I've definitely worked with before. My sense is that usually when they have me come on, they have already had a couple of weeks of like, I don't know quite how to describe it. Not just pre-production, because there's always, of course, pre-production, but a little more of a concrete plan. And I think they maybe brought me in a little earlier than usual this time, which is okay. You know, the advantage of that is like I can have some kind of input on some foundational things that can be nice, and which is not always an option for me. You know, sometimes it comes in and it's like certain decisions are made, I have to deal with them. But this job, like almost nothing was decided. And so oh, it's not that okay. It's not startup-y, unfortunately. No equity on me for this. I don't know about that. I used to be a very and I like people. I don't know. I like these people. I like some of these people. My general policy used to be that I just hate all people. I've tried to soften on that really, but anyway, the short answer is like it was kind of stepping in and being like, wow, that we're going to do that in 3 months. Okay. And then the second question was like, well, who's going to build some of these things? And the answer was maybe me. It was a little surprising. It's fine. It really is fine. It's a funny thing with what I do sometimes where like often the jobs are so secret that I kind of get hired without exactly knowing what's going on. And then this time I was hired as a tech artist. That's what it says on the tin. And then that's what I say on the tin. That was a weird way to put that. That's what it said on the contract. And then I'm doing quite a bit of networking stuff, but hey, it's okay. How are things with you, Phil Powers? Okay, let's just write this because I don't care. I mean, I still don't think I understand. Maybe someone will respond on Discord. I feel like, didn't we stub in something terrible in here? We didn't make proper routes for stuff yet, did we? No, we just have everything crammed in. Uh-oh. What is your... Okay, first let me test the waters here. I've definitely known some people that are in a position such that they would not mind being laid off. Like, I don't want to minimize your stress about it, but I'm curious, like, what is your feeling about this upcoming cull? Are you stressed out? Maybe that's what I'm trying to ask. So this is what I want to do, I think. I have this why is the music extra terrible today? Did I change something? Did I like pick another channel or something? I feel like the music is worse than it's ever been. Yeah, I mean, it's nuts. It does. My general sense, how do I want to say this? Like, well, you'd be curious if you agree with this. My sense has been often that the layoffs have been like, whatever, like business in the realm of business support services, and a little bit less, at least in the tech companies, maybe fewer core tech people and more, you know, peripheral business HR, those kinds of people. Is that your sense, or is that not sound right? So I want to not have an index. That's what I'm going to say to you. And then the doubles, what do I actually care about? Like, I don't actually care about very much. Like, other than the channel, what else do I care about? I don't really care about like where you clicked on the screen, especially if that's going to get sampled. Yeah, it is a weird thing. I read a little bit about that, about like the way the weird patterns move of like, uh-oh, why did the stream just die? That was weird. Now it's back. I don't know what's wrong with my internet connection lately. Yeah, all the like insane overhiring and then like this whatever monkey see monkey do thing of everybody laying everybody off. Seemingly not Apple though. It seems like Apple has had a long-term strategy of like, this is when you swoop people up. Like almost every other huge tech company has announced layoffs, except for Apple, right? Unless they did and I didn't see it. Okay, so I don't want to use indices because I don't want to pay money. And I don't want to use a double for the channel IDs. So like blobs. Do I care about the user ID? I guess I might. User ID. Wait, what's wrong here? Oh, I just can't capitalize things. What else would I conceivably care about? Very curious, like how fast these queries can be. But just like, what if this is what I wanted? That's gonna break, huh? For multiple reasons. Queues aren't even local, or I wonder when queues are actually gonna be ready. Perfect. Nailed it. So, how does anything work? Can I, like, is workers analytic, is this real? I'm also I've like definitely confused myself because I think we have 3 heat endpoints now. Or like 3 live heat servers. We have the real production server, and I think we have, I don't remember. This one's called staging, but then we also have dev, that is the previous version's staging server, basically. Anyway, okay, I need to open Postman, which almost certainly has work. Am I gonna have to just do like a 2-computer thing? I really don't want to. Okay, so if I were me and I were to do this, would that work? And then if I were to do this, that was kind of weird, right? Do I not have a in order to post you? Why? What happened? Right data point. Okay, so I've not done something.
correctly, right? The analytics, inside Wranglers, we do analytics engine dataset. Oops. Gotta go to New York at the end of the week. Been in New York since before the pandemic. What do I need to do? Did I do this? Navigate to the workers page. This would be, don't screw this up. This would be the staging server. This would be the staging server with node and gateway. And we would the right-hand sidebar. Wait, do what? The workers page. Oh, just the workers page, not the individual worker with the whole workers page, not the, yeah, I get it. Okay. Analytics engine, one data set. Mission control. So I have enabled analytics engine. And then we need heat clicks. Or heat analytics, we called it. But when I see this, do I have to oh, I didn't actually pass it the data point, so that would be one problem. So if we were to connect here, we break it. What's your problem? Is this some ultra dumb thing where queues only works locally and doesn't that seem right? Sorry, where queues works locally only and write data point works remotely only, or some incredibly cool thing like that. That would be funny. What, is there something I need to do first? Like a Wrangler create dataset or something? Can you actually go into this and look at it? Or no? Is there anything related to? So, did I miss something here in the getting started? I've already enabled it. I have done this. This is not data available. I don't know the right way to do this. It feels like it never works very well. I feel like that's such a major annoying issue with NPM. That actually work? Like, we see an analytics engine data set here called Heat Analytics. What the spike is here? So it's also very possible that I just did something else silly. So let's actually look at the code, I guess. Cannot read properties of undefined. So what? This is working or has been. The analytics engine data set. What's the problem? Oops. I'll look at the mission control workers. Just see if there's anything obvious. So we had this mission control data set. Analytics, that seems fine. And then probably somewhere we had our env defiled, so that it defined. I don't think we had it defiled. Hope not. And that's all we did was mission control data set, right data point. So why so dumb? I'm tempted to push this, which should be fine, because it's not even currently hooked up at all to publish production. Just wondering if that's what we had to do to force it to make the thing. Maybe not. So that is where? That's Heat API staging.workers.dev. Should have updated the version. Oopsie. Let's try the local version, maybe. What? So broken. Seems dumb. Is that actually working? Who can say? Hey, analytics. I did it. Now, can I run locally? I mean, I really wonder if it's like a local mode thing, which would be dumb because I'm only doing local mode because. Well, actually, we should test that and see in this newer version. But I think it's gonna break. So there's no queues locally. Yeah. I don't know if that was a real command. Seems like one. Okay. Connect with the WebSocket, and then I feel like this still gonna break. Still breaks. This still works. We're getting clicks. So that's interesting, and that's fine. The thing that I just am like wary of, but I kind of just want to do it, is have real heat push there. Kind of want to. I mean, it's very minimal. You saw just a few lines of code. All we're doing is just sticking I attempted to just write something that like makes a billion fake clicks or something, you know? Just to get some data in there. And then we can see the data. Just point at it. It's weird that this month gave 720, but that was more clicks than the website showed, wasn't it? Oops. Oh my gosh. Can't type. Okay. Why does this only say $317 visitors? Do I? Oh no, is there sampling? That would actually be interesting to know. It would be weird with so little data, but it'd be interesting to know. So, is there a way for me to do these SQL queries without, like, do them remotely? There is, right? Can't you do these? Something very silly like this. Yeah, didn't we do this? The Cloudflare one? External objects namespace. Maybe not. Wait. Like I want this, querying the API. count ID? I never find these things. It should just populate it for me. Count ID. So this should be select show tables. So it's going to be auth. That's fine. Give me a second to figure out my token. Authorization. Bearer token. Oh, that's right token. What, it's the API tokens page. I don't know, man. I've got a billion tokens generated. I don't actually know why. Didn't we? Okay, there was mission control was read analytics and logs. View summary. Can I have it? Please? Please? Durable objects. Edit? I don't think it'll let me see it again. I want to, if I could like duplicate one or something. Roll. What do you think roll means? Let's generate a new one. Okay, we want to create one. Read analytics and logs. Continue to summary, create token. What is the name of this token? Read analytics and logs. Edit. Can I give it a name? Read. Okay. Try it. Go. Okay, so we have that. We have body. Let's go back over here. So can we do edit break? Did it. Okay, so we want to like what? Show tables. We want to like select star from heat analytics. What's wrong? I don't remember how to do anything. How do you do this? Okay, so we have, these are, right, sample interval. Those are all the things. Sample interval is 1. Log. That's it. It's so funny that all this data gets stored. All this like dead data gets stored. Isn't that crazy? So we want to do something like count sample interval as clicks, blob1 as channel, blob2 as user. Oh, sorry, it would be like the sum of. Maybe I don't care about the user. I mean, right now I don't really. Like what I really care about is like clicks per channel. So like this, like 6 clicks for my channel. But then the timing is what's weird, you know? Like I didn't when we just when we just did this, like on our okay, there's a timestamp I see. So you could check the timestamp. So I kind of want to know like per day or something, you know, or per. I mean, not that we have the data for it currently, but got to be ways to do that in a query, right? Why'd you do that? You'd have to, I see, you'd like do something on the day and then, yeah, like this, group by. Okay, well, we don't have enough data for that. Okay, but we could do this. So the real question, friends, is am I brave enough to just push this to production? This is coming from the person who has still not been brave enough to push the Heat website to production in a week for no reason at all. So, or we could like shop for bike tools. Bike cable cutter. And obviously, I want a cool bike. Obviously, I want a cool Park Tools one, but. Yeah, Hosan. Is that the company? Look at that. What's a reasonable price for that? Cool. I don't need this, but. Oh, pill powers. Nothing is. The how robust is my deployment strategy? Not very. It's not too hard to roll back, but that is a thing. They're definitely working on it. Like their deployment system, wherever it is in beta, but I don't. It's rollback is not a major problem. It's pretty easy. I'm not. I guess it's one of those things where I'm not. How do I want to put this? I think it would just work immediately or not. You know, I would push it to the dev server and test it there as much as possible, but it's not really the same as fully testing it through Heat, or like through Twitch. And that is a more annoying process, especially because they killed the tool that I used to do that, the Twitch development rig, and without a replacement, which is endlessly frustrating. So there's not really a way to test extensions anymore, except like upload them and run them on your channel, and then nobody else can use them. It's really irritating. But I can emulate the clicks pretty reasonably, to a high enough degree of confidence that I think it would be fine. It's more just like, am I gonna miss something and it's gonna break? I'm gonna do it. Let's do it. Let's do it because we'll just wrap it in a try catch. And then what could possibly go wrong? Nothing could go wrong. So if we did, I think I actually know is about like sharing these analytics data sets amongst multiple workers. I guess we will see what happens. Nope. That would be Heat workers. Which actually, now that I say that, is on a, I think is actually on a pretty old. Maybe it's still fine. It's just definitely not on like the latest development stack. Maybe that's okay. Where is this installed? I don't understand anything. But I uninstalled the global version of Wrangler because I don't want it. I guess this is technically a dev dependency, right? Is that true? I don't know if this is going to work at all. Okay, there's definitely deprecated stuff, but it didn't totally explode. What is this insane port it has bound itself to? Probably because this is running, right? Go away. X to exit. Okay. So, long story short, I have not updated everything here because we're still using Dog, which is the terrible library that has caused all of the grief. But last time, it's been a while, but when I tried to update to all the latest Cloudflare development tools, there were issues. But we seem to only be getting warnings for deprecated stuff, not actual errors. So I think we're okay. So we connected there. We sent. What happened? That looked like actually broken. What happened? We're connected to WebSockets. This was me trying to send data to the channel. That was weird. What the heck happened? Okay, ignore all the errors. And it seems like we're okay. Actually, is there still a... Wow, there was a secret bug that if you sent WebSocket data, you could crash Heat. But I don't think that's true anymore. I think the secret bug no longer exists. Gateway check failed. Don't tell me about the secret bug. What is going on? I mean, this is the weird thing where I'm like, that looks scary, huh? Why would that ever happen? This is the real reason I'm afraid to touch the existing version, just because it feels like a house of cards, I guess. Why are these alarms firing so frequently also? That doesn't look good. I just know there's like bad janky stuff happening due to dog, and I'm ready to be done with it, but I just want to wait until that queues feature comes out of beta. Be sure that we just don't accidentally crash. The very first example, like that example code from them, or at least I don't know if it currently is, but that what I first looked at for all of this, like durable object stuff, just they wrote just everything was wrapped in a try catch. It was very classy. This feels so janky. I hate you, dog. I want you gone. I want you out of my life. Let's check the Discord for the Q's beta. What does it say? Nothing that says we'll release this tomorrow. I mean, I don't have reason to expect that if I push this, it will be more broken than it already is. But did you see that? What just happened? Why? Uncaught in promise, arrow return on air post. Why? And what are these gateway checks? Like, I hate this code base so much. I don't even want to. I don't even know how to go about debugging this. Like, the last time I looked, it felt like the issues were in Dogland, and I just did not want to try to pull that apart and figure it out. Sucks. Like, how did that happen? Who returned to 500 here? And why would that have actually caused a crash rather than just say like, hey, sorry, 500 error? I mean, it makes me wonder how heat works at all. Sadly. Maybe it's because it's running in this weird mode. Man, what is... I don't even know if I can push this code base anymore, which is incredible. Or I can't run it locally. Yeah, okay, right. That's the state we're in. I don't think I can run it locally at all. I can do Rango dev, but not in local mode, but then it seems to have different issues. Very frustrating. Bunch of deprecated stuff, but whatever. I mean, we've definitely pushed this in recent memory. Even different. Commented that actually could be a bug. I mean, that doesn't look good, but or it looks easy to break, I guess I should say, but that really explains the issues we're having right now. Oh no, Power never. I hate AWS. I like Cloudflare compared to my experience with AWS and my current experience even with GCP. Like, I prefer Cloudflare. It's just the reality. Their services, they've got a lot of services that are in beta, which I'm generally okay with that. Like, I think they've been moving very quickly and they've built this, like, I really like their approach to the services they are building as opposed to GCP just kind of being like AWS, just kind of like being like Azure. Like, I hate that stuff. And so I like it. I'm okay with the beta-ness. The thing that is hugely frustrating is, and I get it, I mean, but is the way things went down with this particular library. And it's like a long saga, but basically, while the durable objects feature was in beta, before they announced pricing, I ported Heat to it and I really liked it. Then they announced pricing and I was screwed because they basically were going to charge me. It would have ended up being effectively like $5 to $12 per channel of people connected, and it was like untenable. It was just very quickly was hundreds of dollars by building it the obvious way. And then I reached out to them and they're like, well, you know, we recognize that this is a bummer, but we have this library that somebody's been working on called Dog that is basically kind of a load balancing thing that lets you do it all for $5, whatever. And it was fine and it worked okay. It was pretty clunky. It felt a little buggy it just didn't feel very robust, but it was like, okay, well, this is the alternative that I have at this moment to switch to using that, thinking like, well, hopefully it'll get better over time. And then that guy left the company and then they just don't support it, that library anymore. And that's a major problem because it turned out not only to be kind of, it wasn't just that it was like, oh, it's not ideal, it's not perfect, but it's okay. Like, it actually is not good for production. It's not production ready. And so I've had to build really silly kind of band-aids on it. So that was frustrating. I have the new version written. I feel pretty good about it using new features, but I'm hesitant to flip over while it's in beta. I don't know. I don't. I mean, what's worse? The current version that works but is like fundamentally broken in ways that I know about, or my beta version that addresses those issues, but like anything could go wrong with the beta-ness of the service. And there's issues, you know, there may be new issues that I don't know about in the new architecture. So it's, I don't know. It's very easy to just be like, oh, I just want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to think about it. This is especially frustrating though. This situation where like even testing feels very shaky. But it's hard to know what's breaking. Or it's not immediately obvious, you know? So, I don't know. Like that. Where did that internal server come from? Where? I don't think, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think like these developer tools really give me any incredible ability to introspect. It's cool that the dev tools just broken too. What happened? I don't think I've ever run into this particular. I don't know if this is like using the latest Wrangler with some outdated stuff, or had this particular, or this much friction. I feel like it's a little scary. I don't think so. Maybe their remote debugging stuff is a little. I honestly haven't done very much with it. Like, I don't even exactly understand. Like, not super useful. Uncaught internal error. Like, okay. Cool. Should I wrap the whole thing in a try catch? I will. I mean, their example did, which is kind of funny. Well, we could. Doesn't seem like the healthiest thing in the world, but. Oops. This is, take notes everybody, this is good programming. Wait, what did I do wrong? What's a parameter to this? Some kind of exception-y thing? What do you want? What do you want? Exception. Is that right? Good old-fashioned 500. But now you do this. What is this catch? Is this not like a... I guess I don't really know what kind of exception it is. Shouldn't there be some kind of... Catch clause really type in it must be any or unknown. Really? Kind of weird, but okay. What is this gonna do? Can I break it? I don't think it's a node process. I think it's their own. I mean, I don't think so. Like their their workers engine. It might be V8, but I don't think it's Node. Yeah, it is V8, but I don't. It's not Node. It's their own engine. Which is fine. I think that the thing that makes it really tricky, and I'm starting to remember, part of the reason this particular architecture is so weird to debug is, hey, look at that. Exception, internal error. Great. No, yeah, it's their, so it's their engine. It is based on V8, just like Node is. The thing that makes it so weird is it's cool, but the whole concept, this concept they have of durable objects is just like some in-memory state that exists somewhere in the world, and you don't know where, and you don't have to know where, but you can have persistent state without having to have a server. So I can have all these WebSocket connections without a server. So there's no, it's this weird concept of serverless computing, but with in-memory state that is available to you. And so the issue is that when I'm really running this, the class that I'm in, like I get this durable object and that's where I'm executing thing. It's like this weird black box that just exists somewhere in the universe. And I'm remembering now, like early on when I was trying to debug those, you really can't get much in or out of them. I mean, other than like, you can't get, maybe there's a way to get logging. At the time you had to like, I think I was having it send log messages to some external server or just post them. Anyway, whatever. They're a little tricky to debug. More annoying to debug than you would like intuitively think, because it's not just that there's this like, you know, worker script, this process that runs when you connect. It also goes out and sends a request to these durable objects floating in the ether, but that's all managed. The finding and connecting and communication with those, that is what is managed by Dog. That is what's managed by this library that I don't like. So that even makes it more annoying. So anyway, it's definitely not, it's obviously not impossible, but it is not as easy as it feels like it should be. So it's very fun that I can get these exceptions. I don't know why. It's cool to not crash the server though. I wonder if those are happening in production, or if it really is this dev stack, you know? I mean, I don't really have a problem, especially since we're in the broken, silly state we're in. I don't really have a major problem with this. It's not, I don't know, it's pretty silly, but just that internal error, not super great. exception, internal error. So now we're also getting other issues, other like 500 errors, like trying to talk to stuff. And we probably got our WebSocket disconnected. Now, weirdly, it is connected. But if I send to it, now I'm just getting exceptions every time. Wow. It is funny that there's no like I haven't looked at it in a while. It was definitely obnoxious. I think now they have I mean, in particular, the durable object stuff, it sounds like a really hard problem because by design, it's just like it's like some class that just exists somewhere. Which is cool. And again, the coolest thing I can do with this is the serverless WebSockets, which I don't think that maybe Amazon has a product now that can do that, but it would have to be pretty new because just the whole conceit of serverless WebSockets is so weird. But I like it. I think it's good. And I can do a tremendous volume of data for very little money. Or volume of clicks, I guess. Like the data, there's not that much data, but it's a whole lot of clicks. So this actually feels worse though, right? It's funny because now I'm like, I think they've been pretty thoughtful about it. I think it's a really, I mean, I think it's a hard problem they're trying to solve. And I generally think it's a cool approach. Like I actually do like it, and it lets them keep costs very low, and it lets them like it feels like a lot of the services and tools they offer are like everything's built on workers, even their additional services. So their whole stack is built on kind of the same infrastructure, and then you can kind of choose where to live in that world. Like you can use the higher level services or mix and match or whatever. But serverless persistent state, I think, is a hard problem to do fast. I mean, you can do it slowly, obviously, by like reading and writing from the database or whatever. So I sympathize with the difficulty of the problem. I think they've generally done well with it. And I should stress, like, this particular nightmare I'm facing right now, I think has more to do with the state of this current code base, which is using this library that is in many ways out of date. Then it has to do with the state of Cloudflare workers, because the other projects I'm running, which I have several other projects, I don't have these issues in the same way, I guess, is what I would say. I just don't have any, like, I don't even know how to get in here, right? Like unless it's, I think these requests that are blowing up, maybe I'm wrong. I think they're blowing up because of something going on with Dog, or something I'm doing at the end of a chain with Dog. Like I've noticed these weird errors of like an event handler returning a promise. I know that's a Dog thing. I know Dog is doing that. But I think that's just a warning. I don't see why it's breaking anything. Why it would break something. Hi, y'all. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think I'll ever be done. I think that there'll just always be new things. I mean, it will be done. There's one of those art quotes that is always attributed to a million different people, but like a painting is never finished; it's only abandoned, or a work of art is only finished, or it's only abandoned. Like, I don't think it'll be done so much as like maybe it'll be good enough one day and I won't care about it anymore. Or what probably will be happen is somebody will build a better version and figure out how to monetize it. No one will care about heat, um, which is okay. So it is a bit like Lambda foundationally, right? Like workers in general, like the core workers conceit is a bit like Lambda or anywhere else with serverless functions. A request comes in, some code runs, and then you return a response, right? So that's what workers do, and that works very well, and it's very fast and it's very cheap, right? Um, that doesn't, but you can't have WebSockets in that scenario, right? Traditionally, you can't, because it's like, well, a WebSocket has like their state to be managed. The client and the server have to know about each other, and they've got to maintain some relationship. And so, how could you possibly do that? And then there's other issues of like, well, what if you need data? What's the right way to put this? Like, you need some persistent state that you do kind of want to be like readily available in memory, but again, there's no server. There's not one server. There's not even one data center. It's like their worldwide network, and it's like a request could come in India or a request could come in Florida or whatever, and you might need some very very fresh in memory state. And they have a few ways to do that. So they have a service called KV, which is cool, which is a key values system, but it is only like locally like how do they put it? It's very fast and very available. It takes time to propagate, and so it could take like up to 60 seconds for it to end up on the other side of the world. In the data center where the requests are coming in, it'll be there, it'll be available, that's great. But you can end up with these weird conditions where like, well, in India, we said this, and over here we said this. So it is eventually consistent, they call it. So that's cool, but it doesn't work for me for the things I'm doing. It doesn't solve like the WebSocket problem. And they have one more other service that is like that. I can't think what it is. But anyway, the durable objects idea is like, it's a class. You write a JavaScript class, and that class is available. It's not part of the script that runs when your request comes in. It's just available. And they have rules for like whether it's in memory or it gets unloaded memory for whatever. But one of the things you can do, because you know it's going to persist, is maintain your WebSocket connections. So you don't need a server. And so you can do a thing that you definitely, as of a year or two ago, maybe there's new services, but like on AWS, if you want to scale WebSocket connections infinitely, you just have to keep spinning up like whatever they are, whatever it's E2, EC2, you just have to keep spinning up node servers, Node.js servers or whatever. It just forever and ever and ever. You just scale up, and eventually your bill is $10 million because you just trying to handle these connections. Whereas in this case, I can scale up to like 100 people on one durable object, which is kind of like its own little server process. Not really, kind of like that. And I can just like have those popping up wherever as needed. And eventually I do have to pay a little bit more, but it's not that much. And it's based on like compute time or process time. And so if I group a bunch of connections together, it's pretty cheap. So it's cool. And I don't know if anybody else has exactly the same thing. The closest thing I can think of that probably is an alternative to the way that I built this, I just don't know how I would do it in a web browser necessarily, but is one of the messaging services. Like AWS, what is it? They have their other messaging service, whatever it's called. And you have to forgive me because some of this stuff I haven't really thought about since I looked at it at the very beginning. So I probably got some of what I just said wrong. But in everything, SNS, that thing, or like whatever, they have various messaging services, but it's these. If you just want to send something to somebody's web browser, eventually it has to become what? It has to become a WebSocket connection, right? Like I don't know how. What are your alternatives? Maybe you can do it with HTTP2, but I don't know that browsers let you do that yet. Anyway, or the support wasn't there when I looked at this a few years ago. So anyway, or you have a service like Ably, which is also pretty cool. That is, they just are kind of like a messaging service, and they do support WebSocket connections, which is awesome. But if I tried to run Heat on this, it gets so expensive so quickly. It's crazy. 6 million monthly messages. There was something about the peak. I can't remember exactly what the pricing was, but when I tried to price out Heat for like during a Twitch event, where there would just be potentially hundreds of messages per second, it got so crazy expensive. I can't really remember what the pricing was. It was too much. It's too rich for my blood. Fun Violet Panda 2, how's it going? Yeah, that stuff. It's kind of like Redis. It's not just a data store though. It's a class that executes. So it's not just a data store that you have to say like, oh, hey, data store, give me the data and I'll process it. It's like you send it a request, it has whatever in-memory state it needs to do to serve that request, and then it returns you whatever, but it can do the processing based on whatever else it needs to know. For example, like in Heat, I need to send a message to everybody connected to the WebSocket server. I don't even think you can actually with the way it's set up. Maybe in theory you can imagine some way that when a new request comes in, imagine you could, I don't think you can, but you could store WebSocket connections in Redis. I would have to gather all of those, and then I would have to do the work to deal with it, send individually the messages to everybody. Whereas this, in fact, it's even treated that way, which is kind of interesting. When you talk to a durable object, it's based basically top to bottom like a request coming in, like it is just receiving a request. In fact, that's almost the only way to talk to it, is you have to talk to it like you're sending by sending a web request. You can build that request, but it is a request object that goes into it. Oh yeah. Sorry. Yes, Redis is a bit like those, but with the weird caveat of that eventually consistent thing, and which I think could work in many use cases. The one thing that bummed me out that would have made it work for me is if it had like an atomic add, where instead of saying like, set this thing to 7, just increase it, and then it wouldn't matter if there was some kind of like race. But there were no atomic operations, at least last time I looked. Unfortunately. Fun Pilot Panda 2, I'm working on boring stuff. I don't know what to tell you. We've got to robustify this tomato situation. But for stuff that you don't need to be fresh within a 60-second window, KV is totally good. Oh, is that true? I mean, I guess you're probably right. I thought that Redis did have atomic operations, though. Can you do... Yeah, so Redis does have atomic operations, so you don't have to care as much, right? Like, if I say increment or decrement, it doesn't matter how, whatever worldwide requests come in, when they get interleaved, the end result will be the same. unfortunately, KV, and maybe this has changed, at last time I looked, which has been maybe a year or so, KV did not have this kind of operation. I do think the KV is almost like, I would almost put it like it's almost like a blend between Redis and like Mongo. Like it's somewhere in the middle of Redis and Mongo, or some other like NoSQL. Does not perform like an in-memory data store such as Redis, asking even when locally cached, more latency. Oh, that's another thing too, is like if you want to improve on latency with durable objects, they just have a certain amount of memory that is allocated to them, and you can just keep things in memory. And so a lot of the stuff I do with like cooldowns and stuff like that, where I don't want to add latency to an incoming click just to check the cooldown or whatever. I mean, doing any additional work adds a little bit of latency, but using just like durable object memory, it is a little snappier, and then I don't even have to worry about that eventually consistent thing. But I use KV for other stuff. It's pretty good. I mean, I don't know. I like them. I like that they're doing something different, whereas AWS just feels like GCP, just feels like Azure, like, and I don't like any of them. I find them all clunky and frustrating to use. There's some other, oh, right. There's two other things, like the things I have been waiting for. One of them is queues, which is just like, let's requests come in and be queued, and then they just get popped off in batches to be processed, which should definitely help with heap performance. And then the other is, what's it called? PubSub. Where is it? Just the list of the services. Maybe it's not. That one's still in like preview, I think. So maybe it's not even listed here. I need to start using this cache API as well. So just like if a request comes in that's a known request, you can almost treat it like a browser cache and just pop back and say you're good. I need to do that for the stupid web token validation stuff. Some of this stuff is new. I haven't done any like email stuff or done any of the stream stuff either. Most of what I've done has been in durable objects land, and it's been okay. Okay, other than just well, I mean, yeah, it definitely left a bad taste in my mouth, that issue with that library. And the thing that's most frustrating about that whole situation is if they had just said to me like, yeah, sorry, it sucks, you're gonna have to just come up with another solution, I would have just written another solution. Like I just would have built it and it would have been fine. It would have been taking time to debug and all that stuff, of course, but I would have just built it. But it was just too tempting to be like, oh, okay, well, if you've got a library, I guess I'll just use the library. Little did I know that it was a trash machine. It was a trash library. That's something funny, but I don't know where the connection reset's coming from. I mean, I don't know where anything's breaking. Here's my worry, is that if I push it with the try catch, it will actually make things worse, because I have some sneaking suspicion that heat breaks sometimes, but because it breaks fully, it's just restarted, like the process restarts, and so then it's okay. Versus if it gets into a broken state but doesn't explode, yeah, is that, like, did that break it, for example? Is that broken now? Wait, broken? If it gets into a broken state and then doesn't explode, then it's just in this zombie mode. So in other words, I'm tempted to leave it broken. But I do want the freaking, I want the clicks, man. I want the analytics. Oh, that's not a bad idea. I wonder, well, so currently in the try catch, I'm actually returning the response, but it would be kind of funny to like return the response so that from the client perspective, everything was okay, but then throw. Oh boy, I don't know. This is where it just feels like what a mess. Like, look at, what is this gateway check failing? That, so the gateway check, the purpose of it anyway. Yeah, look at that. 500 internal server. Why? So we're just straight up broken, and then eventually we just collapse. But I don't know what piece of the puzzle is broken. Hate it. I just want to, maybe, I mean, should I just do it? Should I just switch to the new version using queues, even though they're in beta? Like, exception, internal error. Where's the string internal error coming from? Problem is, it's really hard to know where that's coming from. The other thing that makes this kind of extra weirdly complicated is that this is being called, this fetch method is called with every one of my requests, but one of the durable objects at least has an alarm on it, the replica durable objects, and that alarm is being invoked separately to do this check and gateway, but then we're getting a gateway check failed. Why would that be? Like something in here is throwing when we get the gateway check. What could it be? Gets you a durable object stub. I send it an empty request. I do await it. I await the conversion to JSON. It fails before we get to checking gateway, which makes me feel like it's choking on the JSON parse or something. Send that in. Did I give it a fake? doing? Why is this empty? I think the gateway is supposed to return the little status dude. Why? I don't know. So, you know, when it comes down to it, it's like, do I want to spend more time on this broken system when I have a new one? And I could just wait it out. I've waited it out this far. He kind of mostly works. I mean, it definitely has issues. But you click and there's a tomato. So, tomatoes don't lie. This is just extra weird, you know, like this old code base. I mean, I've tested this a billion times in a billion different ways. And so seeing these errors is really unusual. And I don't know what to say about them other than like, well, I'm using a much newer version of Wrangler. Is there just like, I mean, I definitely know, or you can just, I guess can't say that I know, but I can be suspicious that dog is doing some non-kosher things just based on some of the warnings. Like connecting and disconnecting WebSockets, for example, feels it's like an uncaught error here. But like lamely, I feel like I don't think I get anything meaningful in terms of I mean, okay. WebSocket connects and disconnects. Seems suspiciously fraught. So what? Weirdly, you know what's really weird though? You know what is a weird thing? How's that uncaught? That would be in the replica. I mean, like, is it a problem here? Is something breaking here? That'd be funny. An event handler returned a promise that will be ignored. It wasn't me, though. So you know, like as far as me, my handling of this on close. So in Dogland, where do we even find this? Dog, freaking dog, bad dog. I'm gonna sign off soon. So if I remember how this works, like the on close gets called. Oh my buddy. Yeah, this await. The event handler returned a promise that will be ignored. Like, I don't think you're supposed to. Bad dog. See, Phil Powers, I don't need debugging. I can just type the word bad dog and it's going to be fine. Who needs debugging when you have console log? This gross garbage. I hate it. Okay. Closer. It's funny. I mean, this is certainly in a try. Except this isn't. Why do you think? No, it is. This is. Well, it isn't. Like, we'll just add more exclamation points so we know where we are. See, this is good debugging. I don't want to debug this code. I want to debug this bad dog. I don't care about it. Nobody likes you, dog. So that event handler returned a promise that will be ignored. I mean, it says it was ignored, so I don't think that's really... Surely that's not a problem, right? So that is everything that happens when closer gets called. And we seem to make it through closer. So who calls closer? Is you. Is server add event listener closer? And that close the server. So when the close event comes in from the WebSocket, I just don't know what's going on. I mean, like, it has all this internal state management of, like, you know, for its own little load balancing world. It's pretty weird that it throw A. What's that mean? I mean, I don't know. It looks related to closing the WebSocket. Dude, I'm a little curious about the socket send. Channel connection socket send. I don't know. I just am so not motivated to debug this because it doesn't feel like it's my error. I mean, it's my error because my software is broken, but like, I just am so not motivated to like dig through and try to figure out what is breaking because NuHeat doesn't do this. NuHeat is my friend. NuHeat does whatever it's told whenever it's told. Let's just try. Let's just try new heat for a second. It's gonna be funny if it breaks in the same way. Look at that. Connect and disconnect. I can do this all day. It's actually doing something really bad. But let's just ignore that. Why is it doing that? Sorry. Let me switch here for a second. That's funny. Maybe I was testing something. Oh yeah, okay. It was starting a new node for every single connection, but I must have had the limits set in a funny way. Oops. Hi. Wrong camera. Okay, connect. See, new heat is perfect and everybody loves it. New heat would never cause anybody any pain. I don't know. PhilPowers, I can't do it. I don't want to fix their code. They don't care about it. That guy left the company. Why should I care about it? Uh-oh, look. New heat's broken. Well, it's not really. It's worker analytics. Right data point's broken. Why is that, I wonder? That seems weird. Why? Doesn't seem weird that that's broken. I mean, that's related to the stuff we did today, but. Did I not do something I'm supposed to do? That looks fake. I really thought we tested this locally with mission control. Is that not a true statement? I guess we never ran it in local mode. Funny. That's pretty silly and annoying, honestly. Just that it would appear that queues forces you into local mode. The analytics forces you into not local mode. So I don't know. Anyway, we wrote the thing. The thing works in theory. I could we could make that another script that got called and then do the like worker to worker script. How do you do that? I've never actually done this. What I was just imagining is that we have like the analytics server be separate, basically. Apple ATK, thanks for the follow. I don't know why the little follower pop-up didn't work. Why? Because everything's broken in the whole wide world. Okay, I'm gonna sign off because it's getting pretty late. I do kind of bummed out. I wanted that to work. I just nope. What is it called? T dot something something. This thing. I feel ready to move on from our current broken world. I'm ready. I'm ready for things to not be broken anymore. You know what, Dr. Squeakers. Veggie Life is yours idea of the starting fires in Minecraft. Look at this place. Look at this. I love it. What a nightmare. Does heat do anything? Does this couch have little dancing feet? Okay, I'm turning it up. Okay, doesn't seem like he'd say anything. But I do love this channel. Sorry, Dr. Squeakers, no heat, no raid. It's just it is a little bit of a fever dream. I do like it though. I like anybody who's doing something weird with their channel. I was hoping that heat would do something cool, but I mean, I still want to. You know what? Let's do it. I want to raid Dr. Squeakers. Let's do it. I mean, just look at it. It's insane. It's not good. Dr. Squeakers deserves it. Okay, anyway, I know this was a super boring stream. I apologize. I just needed to work on heat a little bit. I've got a long week of whatever it is I do. And then hopefully we'll find some Sudoku time. I've got some travel coming up. Like, just not a lot of time for streaming, you know? Spring is springing. Birds are singing. The crocuses are blooming. The robin is building its nest. Where do you find time to stream during all that? I don't know. I don't know the answer. But I do appreciate everybody stopping by. Apple ATK, thanks for stopping by. Phil Powers, the Sudoku crew who quickly left when it was clear that I was not doing Sudoku. I don't blame you. I truly don't. But anyway, I'll see you all next time. Thanks. Bye.